Hello there everyone, that's where it is. Hope you're well. A friend of mine yesterday, someone very, very close to me, who I care about very much, apologised to me for lying to me. And it really made me think about how we lie to ourselves and why we lie to ourselves, because we don't lie to others unless we lie to ourselves. And there are lots of reasons that we do it, but the main ones are all to do with the fact that we're scared. And the question is, what are we scared of? So, Rosanna here, Rosy Glow, hope you're well. I'm not sure if I am actually looking in the right place, but let's give this a go. No, we're good. We're good, sorry. Right, so what I came up with, I'm going to come here, is that the main reason we lie to ourselves is to avoid pain. Pain of any kind, physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual. Also, lying to ourselves will really come from being lied to by others who lie to themselves all the time. And so we get used to lying. And lying is basically not speaking up for the truth. Now, why would you lie? What would be the fear in telling the truth? Being abandoned for being honest, being rejected for being honest, being ridiculed for being honest. Hello everybody who's joining the call, welcome, welcome. Also, when it comes to what we have to lose, and I'm purposefully speaking slowly because I would love you to be thinking about why you lie to yourself. Why do you lie to yourself? Why do you say to yourself something's really, really important 1 minute, and then the next minute you talk yourself out of it? It's not that important at all. Usually it is fear of change, okay? It is going to be the fear of changing something that is a habit that has been so deeply ingrained for so long that actually we have come to believe this is a part of who we are, it's part of our personality, and it is part of our conditioning, but it's not part of who we truly are. So, main things that I've come up with that I wanted to share with you are to avoid pain, and this will be inherited pain or self-inflicted pain. So pain that we have experienced in our own lifetime, either through our own choices or through choices that others acted towards us that left their mark, or we have inherited. Maintaining an illusion. So maintaining the illusion that we have already created, that everything's just peachy, the surface looks good. Why on earth would I tell myself that things aren't as good as they look on the surface? That would actually mean that something has to change. Hey Devang, lovely to see you. Then we have, it means moving out of an uncomfortable comfort zone into the dun 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 great unknown. And you know what else? It means we're going to piss other people off, because if we're in our truth and they're not in their truth, they're going to be annoyed with us and pissed off with us and potentially threaten us in all sorts of ways, shapes and forms to stay with what everyone else does, because it makes them very uncomfortable, and you looking at your own stuff means that they've got to look at theirs. And so it's like the emperor's new clothes. The moment someone actually says, but he ain't got any clothes on, is the moment everyone else has to go, either that kid is lying or, oh my God, he hasn't, and we have been maintaining this illusion for so long. So most people are walking around and we're all playing a game one way or another of the emperor's new clothes. Then we have maintaining the current narrative, which is the emperor's new clothes. So whatever the current narrative is, for you to actually be able to say, all right, this isn't my truth, it's uncomfortable, is challenging, okay? And I work with a lot of clients that I speak to on the phone, and they will say to me they are so committed to change, they'll do whatever it takes. And then when it comes to it, there are always the same reasons. Oh, I haven't got the time. Oh, I haven't got the money. Oh, something big's come up that I've got to attend to first. I'll be able to do this when this has happened, or that has happened, and that has happened. And there is a big lie there, because the truth is, either you want to do something or you don't. If you really, really want to do something, then you find the way to do it. If you're not sure you want to do something, you will find the reasons why not to do it. So, why would you do something unless the pain of staying the same is so much worse than the unknown? This is the point about the uncomfortable comfort zone, is it has to get more and more uncomfortable. However, sometimes we can maintain the discomfort to a level that is just enough, that it's not enough to change, but it is irritating enough that we keep telling ourselves that we want things to change. And so we keep seeking out this answer and that answer and this answer, and which one seems more plausible and which one seems within my budget and which one seems it's going to not test me too much. The point is, if you actually want things to shift, then you have to stop bullshitting yourself. It's just the way it goes. And the only way you're going to stop bullshitting yourself is to bring someone in that you trust, that is going to show you with loving compassion, sometimes very brutal loving compassion, thanks for the hearts, that you're bullshitting yourself. So this is what I do on breakthrough calls. It's what I do when I'm supporting people to kind of say, right, you've got this intention, and this is where you're saying you want to go, but you're doing this, this and this, and you're saying these things are really important. So it's being able to uncover blind spots. And when you uncover a blind spot, then there's nowhere to hide. Once you've actually seen through the bits that you're scared of seeing, and you realise that they're just there to protect you, then you start thinking, okay, well, living authentically has to mean that, one, I'm not going to be giving my power away to other people anymore. That means I'm not going to be giving my power away to standard narratives. I'm not going to be giving my power away to my cultural beliefs, societal beliefs, religious beliefs. I'm going to question for myself. Hey, Courtney, lovely to see you, darling. I'm going to be questioning for myself whether this is true and valuable for me. And also, when you actually take that authority and you claim to be a co-creator of your reality, which is what we all are, whether we're co-creating consciously or not, then you start to realise that whatever you want to gain access to, whatever resources you want to have, are available to you. You can manifest them, you can resource them. And this is what really, really scares people, is the fact that they've given their power away for so long to others and bought into the victim consciousness for so long, that to actually discover they're not victims and that they've just bought a tale, and that actually they really can co-create what they want to co-create. And you know, I'm not talking here about playing with other people's free will. I'm talking here about the fact that, yeah, the universe is magical. Yeah, it is subjective. Yeah, it is a virtual reality. Yeah, what you focus on grows. Yeah, what you seek you will find. Yeah, birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, the better it gets, the better it gets, the worse it gets, the worse it gets. All this is true. But the only way to really step out of the place where it's up and down and up and down and up and down is to keep examining where you lie to yourself, and to be willing to step into the place of uncovering the truth there. Okay, so just looking at what Shanti's got to say. Thank you so much for sharing this, dear Rosie. This is exactly what I'm needing to hear right now. Sending you so much love and gratitude. You're really, really welcome. You're really welcome, Shanti, and thank you so much for sharing that. So, you know, where I've had to stop lying to myself recently is convincing myself that I should keep going doing things that actually I'm bored of doing, don't bring me the income that I'm worth, that I deserve, are a bit of a waste of my time and energy, in the sense that the exchange is not balanced. And I'm far more excited to do other things. And I think for people who are capable, and there's lots of capable people out there, for people who are doers, for people who are achievers, you can set your mind to anything and be good at it, so you can kind of talk yourself into anything. But the main question to ask is, how excited by your life are you? How bored by your life are you? And if you could change anything, what would you change? Then you have to be prepared for the fact that if you come across someone empowering like me, they're going to help you find a way to actually do it. And then you are going to have to decide whether you're actually going to do it or not, or whether you're going to bullshit yourself and come up with another lie. And if we can admit we're scared, okay, and that we want to believe things can be different to how they are, but we just don't know how, that's when we start to pull in people that can help us see that things are different, and just their sheer belief we ride on. Children, it's very, very interesting, young children, they need to ride on their parents' dopamine, so they need to ride on their parents' joy before they can actually develop their own joy capacity and ability to just sort of expand those neurochemicals and to have more of a dopamine rush through their own enjoyment and their own activity. So initially they basically ride on their parents' delight, and I think this is very, very similar to working with people like coaches like me, where you're basically tapping into the vibration they have already aligned with, they're already maintaining, they're already consistently showing up on, and it helps you to raise your frequency to a different altitude, and then it's about maintaining it. Now, the reason you'll keep dipping is every time you buy back into an old story, so a lie that you've told yourself. you're going to dip down until you remember that's not a truth, and then you step back out of that again and you move into a place where you realise you don't need to hold that story anymore. So when I actually think about why we lie to ourselves, why we lie to others, it is essentially fear, which is false expectation appearing real. It is the fear of being in our truth and not being loved for it, of being rejected, of being abandoned, of saying, I want to do this, but I don't know how. And we all get stuck on the how. Many, many times we get stuck on the how. And the how really doesn't need to be what we worry about. It's about being able to tap in as a multidimensional being of love and light and a source of your creations. You tap into the timeline that you're on. You can actually communicate with your future self on the timeline that you're on and say, right, how do I get to where I want to be with this now? How do I start to have a different relationship with myself, with my finances, with my partner, with my child, with my career, with whatever it is? How do I get to that place where I feel like this every day? And you'll start to get your answers. How do I get the money together for this? I remember being guided by my higher self to spend money I didn't have on a huge crystal. I say I didn't have. It wasn't easy to access, and I didn't feel I could justify it on this huge crystal, because basically, why would I spend £1,000 on a crystal? But my guidance was saying, you really need this crystal, you really need this crystal, you really need this crystal. I'm like, why do I need it? You know, all the stories that are coming out, oh, don't be silly, you should be spending this on someone, on your child, you should be spending it on this, you should be spending, you know, all the conditioning says you're not allowed to follow your inner guidance, because your inner guidance is going to lead you to liberation. And if you get led to liberation, that means that you are no longer a slave to the system. Oh my goodness, we then have a whole load of rebels that aren't slaves to the system. You see where I'm getting it? But the beauty of this is, if we're not slaves to the system, we are co-creating a new system, and that new system is one that we get to choose the rules, we get to choose the state of play. And so long as we are aligning with universal laws, so long as we are committing to come from love and to the intention to thrive rather than to suppress and to repress and to steal energy, then we can only come from a good place. So back to the crystal. In the end, I asked my higher self how I could afford to buy this crystal. I already owed money elsewhere, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? How can I make it happen? Because I feel I absolutely have to have this. And it was a faith in myself, a trust in myself with this one. And basically, my higher self gave me at least 4 ways that I could bring that money together. I just had to ask. And as soon as I could see that there were different ways I could actually co-create it that were within my current sphere of perception, then I was able to take that risk and to say, okay, I'm going to do this. Come what may, I'm going to do it. So I have this crystal now. And, you know, however I justify it in my head doesn't really matter. In the end, it's something that's needed to come to my vicinity. I've needed to prove to myself that I can step behind the things I say are important. I can follow my inner guidance without knowing why, without knowing the how, and to trust that one step in front of the other I can be guided. Okay, one foot in front of the other I can be guided. And I think this is the thing about following impulses of our hearts. We've all been conditioned to rationalize everything and to justify everything, and it has to fit into whatever narrative we have. But when you bring your heart and your brain together, when you allow your logical mind to help you to access how you can follow your heart, that really is the best of working with your intellect, with your conditioned responses, challenging them to get the optimal performance you can from this amazing computer to then follow the impulses of your heart. And that's what this is all about, really. When you no longer feel like you have to lie, you don't lie. We lie to stay part of the system. We lie to be approved of. We lie because we're scared of the reasons that we're not going to be loved anymore. And being able to be honest with yourself means that you will face your inner critic. You will face the voices, the poison that is inside of you, that is not your doing. It is not what you created, but it's the stories, the words, the beliefs that you inherited. And the moment you start being honest with yourself, all of that comes up, and it can be so uncomfortable to be in your own head, your own body, your own mind, when you're facing the pain that's already there, that of course it's very easy to say, oh, I don't need any of this, this is a waste of time, it doesn't work, I'm not going to do it, there's no point. And this is just where we give up on ourselves. It's where we stop saying yes to ourselves. It's where we stop being willing to be accountable. And when you are willing to be accountable, you're willing to be accountable to yourself and to the people that you choose to work with to help you get the results that you want to get. And this is also why I started to charge for my breakthrough calls, because, you know, if you don't change something, nothing changes. So when you make a commitment to yourself and you decide you're worth the investment, that's when you start to see evidence of that choice you have made. You will also see evidence of your resistance to that choice, or the resistance to that belief. And so uncovering the resistance, that's the programming, is essential to then being able to really move into the space where you can accept that you are deserving of being put first, you are deserving of the abundance that you seek, you are deserving of being able to move through your life through grace and ease, you are deserving of being loved for your truth rather than for the way you present yourself in order to get the results that you want. Basically, the love and approval that gets shown inwardly, the putting yourself to the top of the pile, the saying that you are the most important person in the world right now, because through you focusing on yourself, you're gifting the world the best version of you, which is how you then support others to do the same. All of this is what gets you out of lying to yourself and gets you into authenticity and transparency. And we're so scared to do that because we have been shamed into believing it is selfish, it is big-headed, it is egotistical to have our own needs, to speak up about our own needs, to think about ourselves before we think of others. And there is a real misperception about service to self and service to others, okay, in the sense that service to self is a selfish pathway where it's about taking energy from others in order to self-serve and to suppress and to control in order to feel safe. Service to others is a path where, through giving to ourselves, through meeting our own needs and through moving out of the lying to ourselves syndrome, and uncovering why we do that, because it's unique for each of us, we are then able to really serve others from a place where we are really full. And I cannot tell you how many people bullshit me. Like, they bullshit themselves all the time, and they bullshit me. Oh, I love helping others, you know, I help so many people, I've done so much work on myself. But you haven't. You think you have. You've stayed in this place, which is comfortable, you've challenged yourself a little bit, but you haven't really gone deep diving. And the deep diving is where you really face the rage. It's where you really face the darkness. It's where you really face your own resistance. And you go, holy fuck. Okay, that's there. And I am going to do whatever it takes. I am going to face the shadow. I am going to be prepared to put my relationship on the line. I am going to be prepared to face the things that I don't want to look at in order to have this shift, this growth. Because without doing that, nothing's going to change. And I can keep shuffling paper around my desk, but until I take it off the desk, I won't have a clear desk. And that's what it comes down to, is you get what you give. So your investment needs to be deep. If you are fully committed to yourself, if you are fully committed to uncovering where you bullshit yourself, you lie to yourself, you don't show up for yourself, then you can really help other people, because you're not distracting yourself by helping other people in order to make yourself feel better, because you're good at that, but you're not so good at dealing with your own stuff and your own intimacy and all the stuff that's around you, because you know what? It just reminds you of what's already in there that you don't know how to deal with, and you don't know what to do. And that's where tools are important, and that's where breakthrough calls are important, and that's where coaching is important, and that's where, you know, personal transformation is so key to anything else that you actually want to do in your life. If you look at personal transformation above career, above finances, above relationships, above anything else you want to achieve, you're going to have a 360-degree turnaround. You know, it's going to improve every area of your life, because you are the center. You are the magnet. You are the pulling power. You are what puts a vibration out that is reflected back. So have a think about that. And if you find yourself getting lied to, if you find yourself not being able to trust other people, you ain't trusting yourself, love. That's what it comes down to. If others are lying to you and you know it, you're lying to yourself. And looking at those early influences of what we grew up around as normal will give you a lot of clues. So, I hope you found that interesting. I value any comments that may be added later. And if you'd like to book a breakthrough call with me, There is a charge. It is £100, and it will go towards your coaching if you decide that you're going to do some coaching with me, or digital product if you're going to do digital product with me. But you make that commitment to yourself. If you show up, I'm showing up for you too, but I'm not going to listen to endless bullshit. I'm not here for that. I'm here to help you see where you bullshit yourself with love and kindness, and to see that that's okay, because we all do it. And I have accountability partners. I have to, because I'm really good at bullshitting myself. So there are people I go to show me where I bullshit myself. So a bit of bullshit's okay. We all have it, but we want to move out of it because we want to be able to serve in the best way possible. And that's what it's all about. Serve you as a way of serving others. It's not the service to self path. It's not selfish. It's the way that you get there. Thank you, Courtney. Breakthrough call was amazing. You did one, didn't you? That's right. It's great to have you on it, and you did really well. Anyway, lots of love to you all, and I hope to connect with you soon. Actually, yes, I'm going to do a live stream at 2:30 on Saturday around fertility and issues with fertility. And when we have issues with fertility, I'm just going to go over some of my case studies, because I've worked with some really complex cases around pregnancy, and it's so much more than going for IVF. If you want to have a successful pregnancy, a viable pregnancy, a healthy baby, it's much more about the decision to try naturally or IVF. It's much more than that. So I'll go over that on Saturday. And there will be a new moon meditation next Tuesday at 8 p.m. And that's going to be on the YouTube channel, Rosie Glow YouTube. What else? We also have a multidimensional yoga video about to be made. I'm hoping to do that tomorrow and get it out to you. Till then, this amazing hair is by Scarlett. She is my daughter, and she's a colour specialist. So if you live in the Brighton area and you'd like to book a mobile hairdresser, get in touch. That's it for now. See you later.